What happens when you need to upgrade your life? How do you change it? What do you do? We're going to talk about that all on today's Beautiful Mind Show. Your mind is a beautiful thing, but if left unattended, it can get ugly real quick. If you're not constantly curating the content your mind consumes on a daily basis, then your surroundings will dictate your daily thoughts, habits, behaviors, and actions. This show has only one goal: to leave your mind more beautiful than it was when you arrived. Welcome to the Beautiful Mind Show. What is going on, everybody? So glad to be on the show with you today. Do me a favor. If you're a first-time viewer or listener of the Beautiful Mind Show, would you do me a favor and say first time? If you're an OG and you've been around a hot minute, do me a favor and type in the comments and just say OG. I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and also where you are on from. So also do me a favor. If you're first time, say first time. If you've been around for a hot minute, say OG. And if you can also do me a favor and tell me where you are on from. I'd love to know what city in the world you're from. So we're talking today about upgrading your life. And I've got a special guest, good friend of mine today, who's been on the show with me before, Lindsey Haney. She's also one of the trainers in our High Performance Academy and just does some amazing work. So please welcome to the show, Lindsey Haney. What's up, Lindsey?
Hey, Jason.
Hey, as always, glad to have you on. She's one of the mentors in a lot of our training programs. And it's so good to have you on, Lindsey. On our last show you and I had, we talked about how life teaches you important lessons that you need to learn exactly when you need to learn them, and that everything around you is designed to teach you something. But today we want to talk about upgrades, right? We want to talk about what happens when you upgrade your life. And I think there's a safety and security that exists for people around where they are, right? Like if I live my life exactly where I am today and I don't change anything, there's a level of safety in that. And if you want to upgrade yourself or do something that is way outside your comfort zone, you're going to have to perform some upgrades. And I think today, if you want to upgrade your life, comment with the word upgrade. But Lindsey, I want to talk about that today. It's like, how do you get in that spot? Because we were just talking about before the show is like, you can be in chaos in the middle of an upgrade, right? You start to upgrade things and all of a sudden it throws everything that you thought was good into full chaos. Yeah?
Absolutely. Every time.
Right. And I think that's it, right? Is you got to be willing to go through that chaos. By the way, if you'd like to upgrade your life, comment upgrade in the comments section. But Lindsey, I guess let's talk about this for a second. What have you found about throwing yourself into chaos to upgrade? But what have you found that helps you get through that moment in your mind? And we can maybe talk about that as a subject for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I think thinking about the opportunities that come when you get to upgrade, you get to, dream new dreams. But there's always bumps along the road, and there's fears that come along with that too. And there's a lot of learning that happens in those moments as well. Just a small example of an upgrade that, we're doing inside our business right now is changing out our software. And it's one of those things that you're just like, this is going to be a pain. This is going to be a nightmare. And there's going to be a lot of learning and there's going to be a lot of frustration. But in the end, it's going to make our lives so much easier and give everyone a better experience. So sometimes you just get rid of the fear of just pushing the button and making it happen. And that can be things with money too, of can I afford to do this? Is this something I want to change? Is this something anyone else in my family's ever done?
Yeah, I think that's it, right? I mean, in this last month, and tomorrow's a really big day. I get to move into my new house. This is the third house that I've owned, and every time it was a massive jump, right? I remember, and it's been 20 years ago now. I bought my first place 20 years ago, and I remember that place, the mortgage payment, scaring the crap out of me, right? I was like, "There's no way I can afford this." And I remember my my little brother moved in with me first, and then I got another roommate later. But I was like, there's no way I can afford this payment. And I would take that payment right now in a second if I could get it today, right? And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about how real estate, because I live in California, they were talking about how real estate is just insane and people are paying way overpriced, overpriced things for real estate. And I was like, look, man, you got to think of it as a long-term game. in real estate. Because if you looked at that house and said 10 years ago, would I have bought that house for whatever it was selling for 10 years ago? And they're like, of course, I wish I lived 10 years ago. I'm like, yeah, well, guess what? You're buying 10 years ago from 10 years in the future right now. And I think that idea, that stretching idea, is that you want to stretch yourself so far that you're just at the end of your comfort zone, that something scares the crap out of you today. And I had to ask myself, what house would scare the crap out of me today? And I'm moving into a house that would scare the crap out of me today, because I know that in 10 years in the future, I'm like, damn, I wish my mortgage payment was that low 10 years in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think inside our businesses and inside our personal lives, it's really easy to just say, well, what makes me happy or comfortable or functional, or like what can I deal with now, as opposed to how can I stretch and how can I deal with something in the future? Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. What are some of your thoughts on that? What have been some things that have stretched you heavily, Lindsey, in the past, that you when you were pushing yourself, or you signed up to do something, or you've done things like that? What have been some things that like were scary at the time, but like now you would give anything to do that same thing at the level that you are now?
I think anything that you do that's unknown, starting a business. I never had a business degree. I didn't, I had a craft that I was really great at, and I decided I was going to open up a business and just figure it all out. And, I think if it's something you're truly passionate, if it's something that just keeps coming to you, it won't leave you. It's like, you can figure it out, if you have the resources and the people that surround you, if you really want it, you can make it happen. I think back to just, back in my life and the things that I've accomplished just by going for it. But I think, surrounding yourself with people that are go-getters too is definitely important. You have to have your cheerleaders around you, and you have to find the people that know somebody that can help you if it's something that you truly, truly are passionate about, or you're something that just won't leave your mind. Like I'm interested in investing in real estate and commercial property. 10 years ago, that's not something. 10 years ago, I was scared of the rent I paid, to rent a space for my salon, So the more you learn, the more you know, and the more exciting things are to do.
Yeah. Would you guys tell me something in the comments section? I want to know. Tell me something in the comments section that 10 years ago scared the crap out of you, but today is no big deal. And again, I think it was around 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, something like that. I got my first commercial space for the business too, Lindsey. And I think the first commercial space, I remember it really well, is we did this whole thing, and like, I can't remember exactly what the rent was, but it was like maybe $1,000 a month or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, if I paid that $1,000 a month, like, am I going to be able to make it? And then, worse, they make you sign a 1-year commitment. And I'm like, I don't even know if I can afford it for 1 year. And it's like, you do all these things and then you kind of get into it, and it just becomes totally normal. Like, you accept it as your new reality. And it's just like, oh, that's not a big deal. And then obviously it's gone up. We're in a much better space now. We have more people here. We do all those things. And all of a sudden you're like, no, this is completely normal. And I think that panic and what we do in the beginning of like trying something new is what allows us to see kind of that future. And I think I was talking about this earlier and just on my Facebook page, is like, sometimes you got to zoom out on whatever you're looking at to change your perspective, right? And I think what can very oftentimes happen is we look at it in this present moment and we forget to think of this present moment in the future, right? We forget to think about what it's going to be like in 5 or 10 years, what it's going to be like and all this different thing. If we're just living in the now, which I think is good. I think it's good to live in the present. But I think sometimes if you fast forward in the future and say, will I thank myself for starting a retirement account today? Will I thank myself for starting a business today, 5 or 10 years in the future? Will I thank myself for putting a savings account set up, or starting a college fund for my kids, or like, what are the things that I can do? Tony on here says standing up and talking in front of people, right? That's a huge thing. Thanks Tony, for commenting on that. Is yeah, right? Is like I think what people don't understand is that confidence comes from taking action. Right? And it's confidence comes from taking action in a moment of bravery, and bravery doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means the action despite the presence of fear. I'll say it again. I just want to make sure you guys got that. Is confidence is action despite of fear, right? Or confidence gives you the ability to act even though fear is present. And again, somebody who's confident or somebody who's brave does not act because they have no fear, but because they act despite the fear. I probably said it 3 different times there. I don't think I said it the exact same way. But it is recorded. You can go back and listen to it. Right? I always tell people I don't have a very good rewind button. But I think Lindsey is like, bravery is taking action despite the fear. And I think so many people see a fear as a trigger to stop them from taking an action. By the way, if you ever had fear that stopped you from taking action, do me a favor and say fear in there. Because I think if you really want to upgrade your life, you really want to upgrade everything that it is that you're doing, you've got to master fear. You've got to kick fear in the ass and say, look, I'm going to do something even though it's scary as hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that
go ahead, Lindsey.
To like embrace that feeling you get inside of like, oh, this is scaring the crap out of me. And that I've learned like, oh, there's that feeling. That means I need to do this.
Right. Yeah. And I think there is a sickness in there, Lindsey, is like when you get scared and you're like, oh man, this is a chance for me to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like, this is really scary. And by the way, I'm not a fan of like scary movies or anything like that. Like I'm not a scary movie fan from like fear for just, scare for scare's sake. But if I know that there's growth, because I think you can look at it, and I saw something, I don't know if I could find it real quick, but it was something about optimists say, and if somebody can find this quote, please feel free to share it, but I'll butcher it the best I can here while we're talking live, is it said something like, optimists see all of the opportunities in danger, and pessimists see all the dangers in every opportunity. What are your thoughts on that, Lindsey?
Wow. I feel like we can all just take that quote and think about the last year and how we've acted in a time of fear. I like, there's so many different mindsets that are happening right now. Like there's so many people that have this fear and they're living in a paralyzed type of, situation. And, like me, I'm an outside of the box thinker. So I'm always thinking like, what's the opportunity here? What, like, yes, we've been shut down for how long, but, like I've gotten to connect with my family. I've gotten to, I'm starting to like what my travel life might look like differently in the future. I'm starting to think of a new future, the unknown that we've lived in for a whole year, and we get to change, like we get to start thinking about what our family vacations, they're not the typical ones we did. It takes us out of our autopilot. But yeah, I think that sums up this whole last year for all of us is how you looked at fear, and how you reacted to it.
Well, and isn't that the truth? And Molly, thanks for sharing that in the chat. She said, a pessimist sees a difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. And that's a Winston Churchill quote. I'm glad. Thanks for putting that up again for me, producer Bob. I'm glad that we were able to credit Winston Churchill. Smart fella, by the way. Much smarter than me. I wish I could take credit for saying something that smart. I can repeat things that were that smart. But I think to your point, Lindsey, there are so many people that exist that go, well, look, no matter what's going on out there, I'm going to be worried about it. And I think if this year taught us anything is that there was a lot of conditioning going on to be fearful and be scared and be worried and kind of like, lock yourself in and be worried about things. And I think if you look at it and you say, but what's the opportunity here? I was talking to somebody the other day about automation. And I had a real, genuine conversation with somebody about, they were just concerned. They're like, but what are people supposed to do when their jobs get automated? What are people supposed to do? Nobody can work. And the question was like, we're taking away jobs at the checkout stand because, a computer is now doing the job that used to be a person. There was a human being there. And I said, well, look, you either look at it as a difficulty that person now is not going to have a job, and that somehow nobody can get educated. Or I'm like, but look, now they have an opportunity to get educated in something they've never learned before and get better. And the person I was talking to, and no offense to this person, but they were like, but I think some people just can't learn new things. And I was like, well, that's the problem. If you literally think that job that can be done by a computer, that person is just not capable of learning something else, then you don't believe in mankind. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, there used to be a job which was, doing something that we used to do a million years ago. And now with all of the technology we have, there's millions more jobs than ever existed before, thanks to the technology that exists. And I think there's some people who fight technology and think that that's going to create, Amy said it on here, she said revenge. Yep. Thank you, Amy. People are trying to go like, well, damn the man, or damn Amazon, or damn Jeff Bezos, or damn whatever, whoever that could be. Who am I thinking of? Elon Musk for, eliminating cab drivers by creating self-driving cars. How dare you, sir, eliminate jobs? But technology creates more jobs. And I think if you're worried that technology is going to take over your job, and you're not ready to educate yourself and learn something new and learn a different skill, then you're going to be left behind. And I think this is this upgrade conversation we're having right now, Lindsey, is, are you willing to upgrade yourself? Are you willing to go outside your comfort zone? Are you willing to get chaotically uncomfortable with your reality in order to become that 2.0 version of yourself that you deserve to be?
Right. I think that just kind of goes back to what we were talking about, of like who you surround yourself with, like that mindset of, sometimes you need to evaluate where your mind is and what your thoughts are on, exactly that, of like, we're eliminating jobs, the negativity in that, and start having more creative conversations with people who have bigger thoughts than us, instead of shutting it down, like listening and starting to, I think, the other thing that we've been dealt with this whole year is a whole lot of ranting, just people yelling, no one's listening. Yeah. Like, let's have deep conversations with people and have thoughts and understanding and ideas, and upgrade your thoughts, upgrade the opportunities to be creative, to think outside the box of what's a possibility to come.
I think, Lindsey, I just had this thought about like things, again, if you fast forward 10 years in the future, what it could be like. And I was thinking about having water that comes out of a tap, right? If you think about that for a second, I don't know how many water spigots you have in your house, Lindsey, of like, where can you go to get fresh water? But I remember hearing this a long time ago, after I went to Tanzania, Africa, and in people can walk 1 to 2 miles or more to go get water for their family every single day. And what I thought is really interesting is, like, in America, you can go turn on, like, by the way, if you guys are listening in, do a quick count in your head. Count how many clean water spigots you can go to in your house and go get clean water if you needed to. Okay. Because this doesn't happen in Africa. So like, I did a count in my house. It was like, I had 12 places on the outside of my house and somehow I can just go to, turn on the faucet, and clean water spits out. Now, we all love that. We love that technology. It makes our lives better. It makes it easier. It makes it great. But somewhere there was somebody complaining that we took away the person who brings water to the house. We took away that person's job. Somebody complained about that. I have no doubt in my mind, there's a complainer that was like, wait a second, my job is walking 2 miles every single day to get that bucket of water and bringing it to the house. How dare you, sir, take my job? I was watching with my little kids. I was watching the new Mary Poppins movie. I don't know if you've seen that, Lindsey. I watch all the kids movies. I get all the kids movies, my little fellows. And there's a I don't know what the job is, but like there's the like lantern lighters in England that used to, like, as the night would get dark, they'd run around with their torches and they'd light all the lanterns throughout the entire town, and they would light up the town. And then in the morning they would come through and turn off all the gas and shut off the lanterns that would happen in town. Now, we created light bulbs, and all of a sudden we got rid of that job. You no longer have somebody who has to ride through town to turn off the lanterns. And I'm sure somebody was sitting there going, but the people who light the lanterns, that's the only thing that they'll ever be able to do. I mean, this is their gift. You know, they were supposed to be lantern lighters for the rest of their life, and we've now taken away their job with this magic thing called a light bulb. Right? I know you want to be a lantern lighter and a water carrier for the rest of your life, Lindsey. I'm glad you've upgraded and found another job that still works for you.
Yeah, I think back to even 10 years ago, just the simple things that we had to do that would take 10 times longer to what we do now that we maybe take for granted for. Maybe that's it. Just like think back the last even 5 years, the simple tasks that we had to do. I mean, I think of how annoyed I get right now when my face recognition doesn't work on my phone, and I have to actually type in a password to see my whole bank account instead of, waiting for it to come in the mail and me to see my balance in my, my bank register. Well, so yeah, I think that's another thing, is just thinking of like how far we've come and being grateful what we have now.
Yeah.
But what's to come?
And I think if you look at that, that's kind of how you got to look at all these upgrades in your life. You know, as you're looking at what do you do to upgrade your life, what do you do? How do you create it? We're in the middle of automating a lot of things in our office and just having these conversations and figuring out how technology can save you time and use it as a way to leverage your world and your reality. And I think the only way you can really do that, and again, even just having a video chat with you, being in different states and being able to do that is a really big increase in technology. And did it take away a job? Maybe because I didn't jump on a plane and fly to Austin, Minnesota to come hang out with you, I've taken away the job from the baggage carrier and the flight attendants and all those other people. But we get to broadcast a show to lots of people from all over the world because of this advent of technology. And I think it really is that focus. If you get anything else out of the show today, I want you to get this, is that in order to upgrade your life and upgrade your living, you got to focus on the positives of the future. And if you find yourself starting to look negative on what the possibilities and potential are that exist in your future, the way you want to operate is fast forward yourself in time. Put yourself 10 years in the future and realize that risk that you're taking today with the eyes of 10 years in the future is not as big as a risk as you think it is. Right? That risk today becomes a minuscule risk tomorrow. I always think back to my parents when they bought their first property for whatever it was, $17,000 for a property that today is worth millions of dollars. Everybody would have bought property 50 years ago at today's prices. You'd be like, I'm just throwing my money. I wish they would have done that. Right? But if you have the foresight to think 10 years in the future, you become future focused, you can start to upgrade your life, upgrade your reality, and upgrade the things that you do. And Lindsey, you mentioned about people. Any tips you want to give on upgrading the people around you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need life balance. So, who are the people that you are surrounding yourself in your personal life? Who are those people that just give you pure joy and lift you up? And the people that, in your work world, the people that you look up to that are doing bigger, better things than you, I think always are, the people you want to surround yourself with. And, just those genuine people that you trust that can just make you laugh and just take your mind off things for a bit. I think it's just having that balance of good people, but just, making sure that you're surrounding yourself with healthy minded people and maybe you're the Debbie Downer. Maybe you got to check yourself. Maybe you're the toxic person. I think we've all had that experience. We've all been in those shoes.
We've all been that person before.
That's an opportunity to upgrade. That is for sure when you have that aha moment and you're like, oh, it's been me this whole time.
Totally. Yeah, if you look around, they always say that thing of like, who's the most annoying friend in your friend group? And you're like, I don't know who the annoying friend is. Then it's you. I know who it is. You are the Debbie Downer. So here's the deal. If you guys want to upgrade your life and you want to take on a challenge and you want to go further with it, we do something called a 7-day Beautiful Minds Challenge. It's totally free. Join our Facebook group. All you have to do is search the Beautiful Minds or Beautiful Minds on Facebook, and you'll get access to that group. And we'll give you instructions on how to actually join the challenge. Join with us right now. We're doing this month's challenge. Today is day 5 of the 7-day challenge, and we've got another one coming up soon. So if you want information, just comment with the word 7-day below, and I'll make sure you get access to our 7-day Beautiful Minds Challenge. So you can start to upgrade your life, upgrade your reality, upgrade your friends, upgrade what's going on in your life. Because if you're listening to this show, I know that you're one of those people who wants to upgrade and see what you're capable of doing and see what you're capable of creating. And I want to help you to create an even more beautiful mind. Lindsey, thank you for the discussion today. I really appreciate you. Always great to have you on the show. And thanks for coming back. We'll have to have you back on again very soon. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us on today's show. If you want to get access to our 7-day Beautiful Minds Challenge, you can either comment below and just say 7-day, and I'll shoot you the information so you can get immediate access to that, or find me on any social media and just send me the message 7-day, and I'll make sure I get that out to you right away. And if you really enjoyed today's show, it would do me a huge favor if you went online, whether it was Spotify, Pandora, or iTunes, or any sort of podcast platform that you can find us on, and search for The Beautiful Mind Show, subscribe to our channel, and then make sure you give us a rating. Every time you give us a rating, it helps us get more eyeballs on our show and help more people have a more beautiful mind. Thanks again for joining us.